So my name is Kendall, and I am making this video to share my customer experience at Gary Yoman Honda in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I want to start by saying I've never made a video like this before. It's never even occurred to me to do it. Um, but my experience with Gary Yoman Honda was so dissatisfying. I really felt compelled to do something about it, and this is really all I could think of. Um, so anyway, I just recently, less than a month ago, purchased a Honda Passport. It's a $40,000 vehicle from that dealership, and to be honest, at the beginning, my dealer experience was no worse than any others. I mean, I bought numerous new cars over the years, and it's just kind of an icky process no matter who you deal with. I don't know why they feel like car dealerships need to be that way, but the whole thing about, the sales representative never carries his own card, and they have to go when they go into the office to get it, they come back with their manager and he tries to sell you, close on you, and all this mental jujitsu that they do. I don't understand why it has to be that way. So when it was like that at Gary Yoman Honda, I wasn't surprised about that. But the one thing that my sales experience really did bum me out about was that there was one specific question that I asked my sales representative about, and that was whether or not the adaptive cruise control worked in stop and go traffic, because that's important to me. And he assured me that it did, and maybe I should have not taken his word for it and tested it myself, but sure enough, first time I find myself in that kind of traffic, it doesn't do that. You get down below 25 miles an hour and it automatically shuts off. Do I think the guy was lying to me? No. I think that he clearly didn't know, thought he knew and was incorrect, or didn't know and guessed. Either way, I look at that as a training issue. It's the responsibility of the dealership to make sure that their salespeople know about all the features in their vehicles. Their lineup is not that big. They can do some training on that and coaching and stuff. But anyway, so fast forward, I buy the car, and then this weekend, I was driving down Interstate 95, and I got a low tire pressure sensor, and almost immediately after that, I had a blowout of my left rear tire. I would describe it as a catastrophic blowout. I'm traveling down the road at about 75 miles an hour in the high-speed lane. Car starts to fishtail. I do manage to bring it to a safe stop on the shoulder and on the left-hand side, the high-speed side. And I'm walking distance from the dealership when this happened. So my first call was to the dealership, to which I got a very, cold, "Oh, we don't do service calls." And basically the woman that answered the phone just pretty much hung up on me. So I decided to try calling the roadside assistance number that Honda puts on the glass, by the driver's door there. And by the way, if you've never called that, first thing that they ask you for is the VIN number for your vehicle, which is the most ridiculous thing. I got trucks flying by me at 80 miles an hour. My car's shaking like this, and they're asking me for the last 6 digits of my VIN number. Very frustrating. But anyway, I finally got to a human being, and they said, this was at about 9 o'clock in the morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and they said, well, you'll have somebody there at 10. Well, by 10 o'clock, nobody showed up. And then they said it'd be another 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, they said it'd be another 30 minutes. And then after another 30 minutes, I literally didn't get picked up until after 11 o'clock. And I finally said to the dispatcher, because I kept calling them back, wanting to know what the heck's going on here. I kept saying, why do you keep lying to me? Just tell me the truth, right? When is the tow truck going to be here? So anyway, tow truck gets there, and I'll admit that at that point, I'm pretty frustrated to start with. And then we get to the dealership. And by the way, while I was waiting to get to the dealership, I recovered the tire. The tire had rolled past my vehicle about 50 yards. I walked down the shoulder, I picked it up, and I inspected the tire. And on the inside of the tire, there was absolutely no punctures whatsoever. Okay, this was not a matter of I ran over a nail or something like that. This was a blowout of the sidewalls of the tire. And so when I get to the dealership, nobody asks me are you okay? Nobody says, geez, that must have been terrifying, which it was. They just didn't care, right? The only thing that they were concerned about was letting me know that I had done something to wreck the tire, right? And that it was on me, and that they fully intended to charge me $300 for a new tire. And I want to make it clear, this video is not about $300. Okay, money's not my problem. I can pay for the tire. But the fact that they immediately went into this "it's your fault" mode, instead of drawing the logical conclusion that any rational person would be, that a car that has less than 1,500 miles on it, with no obvious damage or punctures or anything like that, that it was probably a defective tire, right? So anyway, when the service consultant, or whatever they call themselves, comes over to me, he's shows me this list of, new tire, new rim, new sensors. I don't know what was on there. It was just under $1,000 worth of recommended repairs. And he said, we don't have the parts, so we need your car until at least Wednesday. Now, this is on Saturday that this occurred. So I said, all right. I said, I need to retrieve some things out of my car. Where's the key? Where's the car? It was out back. Where's the key? And he says, oh, well, there's somebody looking at your car now. They have the key. So I go out there, and sure enough, there's two guys leaning over the rim looking at it. And I don't know what exactly they were doing. And I go to the back gate to open it up to take out what I need to take out. And it's locked. And so I asked them for the key, and they said, well, we don't have the key. And I said, well, where is it? Well, the tow truck driver probably has it. So I walked back into the dealership to find this service consultant, and the service consultant magically comes up with the key. Why he couldn't come up with it before, I don't know. By the way, at this point I said to him, as long as you're going to have the car until Wednesday, I want to let you know I've got a warranty problem, because there's a button in the back that you're supposed to be able to push that makes the back seats flop down, and it doesn't work. So he says, oh, all right, we'll take care of that. So anyway, now I walk back out to the car with the key to retrieve my stuff, and the guys are still there looking at the tire, and he says, this looks like pretty good news. He says, I don't think you're going to need a new rim or anything like that. And I'm like, he wants to take it inside to put it on the lift and put a tire on it and see whether or not it leaks. So I said, well, the other guy's already told me I need all this stuff, and he's already written. And so anyway, make a long story short, they bring the car back in there. He puts a new tire on it. This technician actually seemed like a pretty decent guy. His name was Tyler. And he comes back out and eventually tells me that, hey, look, I put the new tire on it. I test drove it. I don't think you need a new rim. Everything seems to be fine. And so I did wind up driving away with the car. But incidentally, while I was waiting there, somebody comes over from the business office, and he said, well, who did your paperwork when you bought the car? And I said, I don't know. And you guys are all the same to me. I don't know who it was. And he says, well, did he do this? Did he do that? And I answered the questions to the best of my knowledge. And what I realized eventually was, here I am, visibly upset. I'm annoyed that they decided that the problem was me and that I abused the tire instead of the rational conclusion, which is it was a defective tire. And nobody cared about the fact that I had nearly been in a high-speed accident on the interstate right in front of their dealership. And next thing I know, this guy is trying to upsell me an extended warranty on the car. And I'm like, are you seriously doing that now? How inappropriate. So anyway, the technician finishes putting the tire on the car. He tells me that he thinks everything's fine. The service consultant, he's got his bill, right? So I go in there to sign the bill, and there's a section in there that says, we don't. It was a disclaimer that basically said that we can't be held liable. There's no warranties here. There's no nothing. And I crossed that out and I signed the bill. And he just looks at me and says, well, crossing it out doesn't mean it's not there. And I said, well, yeah, I understand that, but it does mean that I don't agree to it. So anyway, I pay the bill, and I looked at the guy and I said, By the way, did you take care of the problem with the remote to lay down the seats? And he says, well, probably not. Well, probably not. What kind of an answer is that? The answer is no, you didn't do it, right? And of course they didn't. I suppose I could have made a stink out of it and said, go do it. But at this point, I just wanted to get out of that hellish dealership. I'll take it someplace else for warranty service. But anyway, I just want to restate: this is not about the money. It's not about the cost of the tire. It's about the principle of the whole thing. You know, I mean, there's just it, I don't know how they come to that conclusion that this was anything other than a defective tire. Why they wanted to not recognize that and try and blame me, I don't get. And quite frankly, all I'm looking for from them is an apology. If the general manager gives me a phone call and makes a sincere apology to me, I'm going to remove this video from the internet. If you're seeing it, it means that call never happened. But if you're in the market for a new car, I would give a lot of I would have a lot of hesitation about suggesting that you go to Gary Yoman. So anyway, that's my experience. If you are buying a car, good luck with it. Bye.